Hello everyone, we're back at the Alta rig and we have some more fixes to do, so I want to take you guys on the journey and explain what we're doing. So let's get started. With my latest update that I released for this awesome new distillation process, we have a major problem with the drilling, which funny enough, now the drilling doesn't work. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration of that and explain what I found, and if someone else has an input, please share, of course, as you all have been doing. It's been awesome. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this the rods in place and get back to you once they're in place. Okay, we've got it in place. We're going to lower the swivel and I'll show you what was going on. So as of now, we can release this and we'll only have it clamped to the swivel and to the rotary table. We'll turn this up to full power and we'll turn this, the water pump and slurry pumps on as we did. So check this out. It doesn't want to drill, or it starts to drill. The water level starts to drop and now we've stopped. So we're no longer drilling. I don't hear the sound. And if we go down to this, our slurry in is 0. Now, funny enough, if we turn off the water, and the water's flowing like crazy, by the way. If we turn off the water, it starts to go with a very low water flow because the water pumps aren't on. And what sucks is it's digging very slowly. Not that slow, but maybe, like it might be as fast as the other one, but it's so weird. So we turn the water pumps on and all of a sudden the water is going, but the slurry isn't. Now this is directly contradictory to our other system we had, where we had the slurry and water pumps and it was working perfectly. So I did a test where I created just a really dirty, quick and dirty copy of the bigger fluid tanks. So you see here we have the bigger water and the bigger slurry, and now it started working. Like these pumps on, it started pumping. So weird. I don't quite understand the logic, let's call it, behind what's going on, like why this bigger tank would influence that to happen. But no matter what, I don't want to have no pumps for the slurry, and the water was flowing very slowly, so it may have actually affected the speed of the process. So not a fan of that. So let's see what we can do here. Firstly, what I want to do is just move this entire system with my furnace, the diesel furnace. I'm going to put it up here. Now it's going to be impacting some of these things, so we have to be careful on what. Actually, that's not a bad place. It is kind of floating, which is funky, but we're going to put some structural supports for it. Alright. And then this we could just remove. We don't need this anymore. As well as the this we do need. Now the air hose, I'm gonna put that, and I could actually rotate that one downward so we can access it and shut it off if need be. So we'll just throw that there. But yeah, I'm truly stumped. Like, I didn't adjust the system at all with my addition of the diesel furnace above the water tank, yet it got impacted pretty severely. So this now needs some kind of structure to support it. So I'm just gonna make a nice little industrial looking bridge here and attach this to it. Now I'll worry about the details later. This may actually even look kind of cool. But long story short, it's just to solve a problem, to solve a glitch, an error that is not good. Like, I don't want to have it working improperly. I want this one to be fully solidified and fully usable, and then we're going to make the other one, which is the sea-based platform. But in order for us to have a proper platform, I don't want to just start that one and then have to make changes to both. It's a very inefficient way to do it. I've done it before, that type of thing, but I was not a fan. Meaning, I have to, like, I find a problem, I have to go fix it twice. It's annoying. I do that for all of my cars, like my buckle lineup. Whenever I find a problem, I have to go fix it, and then I have like a flatbed version, I have whatever, so it's a bit annoying. Anyways, we're gonna make this work and then put all the piping in, so I'll come back to you in a second here. Now I'm just pasting the new, or the old rather, sized water tank and slurry tank here. So now it's the full height as we had before, and above it I've placed the system with all this piping and stuff. So we have kind of this bridge spanning across here and putting this diesel tank, and we'll put supports down there for realism. So we have the new system, or rather moved system here. Okay, let's give it a test before I keep rambling on. But in essence, my quick little trial proved that if we just put the system above rather than take up the space of this tank, it'll work. So let's find out if this is the case. The moment of truth. We've got these rods clamped. We're gonna bring the swivel back down, and once the drill's in place, okay, turn on these ones, turn on this stuff, and start to drill. Now we're gonna see if it works properly. So the water level's dropping, which is nice. Again, keep in mind, this is the exact same system that I previously had. The only difference is now there's a bigger tank. So, I'm not quite sure why this is happening, but look, now we have a nice water flow. Post that previously was like 0.0 or 0.5 or whatever. Now we're getting 3.4 for most of them, and we're getting slurry. If we check our slurry level, it should stay consistent, which makes sense, but our water level should be slowly dropping. So that's happening. So that's it. Like, it was such a weird fix, and I've added some more pumps as part of the process to kind of force water in and out. Even this little tanks here with our saturated slurry, but I could probably remove that. And up here, we now have this up there, so you can fill up your diesel once you start your furnace up there. The next test will be to see whether this system impacted that furnace setup, but from what I'm seeing here, at least the drilling is operational now, and we're going down at our previous kind of speed, so that's nice. Oh, yeah, that stopped because we're there, so we have to actually turn this off and put another rod in. But regardless, the drilling seems to be working, so good. So I just proved that the system works, the actual heating process, so we were able to get our diesel furnace up to temperature. One thing that I wanted to add is the actual pumping in of this small distillation chamber. So I need to find where the pump is. I guess it's this one here. And this pump turns on with this microcontroller, which is right there. I may need to add some pieces to it. So we currently have the capacity, so the fluid meter divided by the capacity, so it's always going to be at 90%, which is good for us. Like, I'm happy with the 90. But what I'm going to do is add another part of it. Now let's just hope we don't screw up out here. Okay, that worked. It didn't eat into anything. It didn't block off anything, I guess. It's always sketchy when you just blindly expand something, but I think this seems to be working. Yeah, it didn't do anything. It didn't close off. But anyway, what I wanted to do is have a thing here that limits the pumping in if the chamber is about to drop beneath the 300 degrees. Like, I want to turn off this pump, meaning to not bring in more temperature. So the way I want to do that is by adding a temperature number input, and we'll put that somewhere here. Now let me think about this for 1 second. So the way I want to do it is if the temperature is greater, so the temperature is greater than 300, it sets this latch. And if the latch is set, it will like now the latch will no longer let it drop below that 300. So it means we've now reached 300. I didn't put that here, but let's say 305. No, let's say 300 on the dot, or 300.1. So it's past 300 and it sets this latch. And what this latch is going to do is it's going to keep pumping. So I kind of played with the microcontroller here, and I will add one more thing. Call it the distillation chamber indicator, pump indicator. And all that's going to do is tell us just a bit of troubleshooting. So that'll be right here with this. Actually, what am I doing? I could just... Silly me. I'll just use the same thing on the pump. Anyway, what I did is I made a second string. It used to just be connected here like this, but now I've added a second string of coding on top. So if our temperature is greater than 305, it triggers a pulse, which triggers this latch. Alternative, and then it requires the second thing, which is if the temperature now drops less than 304, then it needs to stop this. So if the temperature is not less than 304, this is on, this is on, this is on. But now if our temperature drops less than 304, after having already reached higher than 305, then this is triggered. So this becomes yes. So now this is no longer and, this is no longer and the pump will stop. So I'm hoping that this can serve as an indicator to whether or not our pumps are operational. And I guess we have here chamber full, distillation temperature reached. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add another pink indicator to keep it all matching. And this one will just say distillation chamber pump on. Pump active. And we will put a electricity to this, and we're going to connect it to this microcontroller that says pump on. So that means it's letting fluid into it or not letting fluid into it. Okay, that will get us a good measure of that at least. And let's test it out. And before we test that out, let's just adjust this microcontroller for the pumping system. I want to fix this so it is no longer working on an independent each independent time. Like here we have it so you'd set it up as to pump one tank at a time, but now we actually have fully independent systems going to both of these, so we can actually be pumping both reservoirs at the same time. Previously we couldn't because we only had one line going to it. So a little more piping, but a little more efficient system. We'll begin with the revamp of this table here. So I did a little revamp. There's two stations now. The left one is all for the tank 3, and the right one is all for tank 4. May even leave that color coding so it's very obvious. But regardless, this way now we have kind of a clear information center. You're going to be selecting which type of fluid you want to pump, and then you'll activate it, and it'll pretty much just fill that chamber up with that fluid. So quite straightforward. A little bit of work on the microcontroller, but not a big deal overall. I did a little test and found that the pump function was not working properly, so I actually put an XOR function now, and it depends on the pump being on if the bottom is true. However, if the top is also true, meaning it triggers the 305, and then it is also less than 304, this is triggered, and then the pump shuts down. So let's give that a go. And the microcontrollers for all of this pumping system was also turned on and fixed. So I'm going to start pumping in the crude. That is strange. Never mind, we're good, we're pumping. I just didn't turn on these things. I actually put the rotary table on the left side now because it's kind of more, you turn that on first and then the swivel. So it's just a bit of logical operation. Anyway, here we have the crude is pumping up. Now we could fill our distillation. We'll turn on the distillation process, so the temperature, and I'm going to turn on the intake pump. I guess this indicator could probably go next to that one, so it'll have the actual pump will be there, and then the distillation. Regardless, we're going to pump things into our distillation chamber because I want to see if the distillation works. So we've reached the temperature, we're at 305, or we've passed 305. So now if the temperature starts to drop beneath 304, it should automatically shut off. So we're actually dropping now because we keep intaking cold fluid. So once we come to the 304, this one should turn off. And that'll be our little test. Regardless, we see that there's some distillation happening, so we're happy there. Oh, we keep going down. So eventually, if you left it like this, the process would shut itself down. But I want to make sure that we don't intake any fluid if we're beneath 305. So we give it a little bit of chance to heat up. I guess that's kind of my intention here. Just an update. We're producing some jet and diesel fuel. There's no crude because we're putting it right into our distillation chamber. And this is continuously dropping very slowly because we're not even close to being full here, but it's dropping very slowly because we keep putting things in. So this is slowly dropping, but it's still distilling. We're going to leave that be for now. But what I will do is take a look at this side of things. So we've selected, actually I'm not going to select crude. Let's select diesel for the tank 3. And we'll turn this on. Okay, it's not pumping. What about jet fuel in this tank? Well, that's a failure. Oh, no, we are pumping. Okay, so reservoir 4 is in fact pumping up with jet fuel. And if we check on our little diagram here, so the diesel, this one's, oh, maybe we're not connected. And then here we have jet fuel and we have some. And I guess this should be continuous as we produce the stuff. We have our little debug somewhere here, so we do have jet fuel. And then this one, our little debug. So we have diesel. Oh, jet fuel here too. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, something gotta make sense, which this does not. the diesel not pumping was a simple fix. I guess I missed the electric on this one. But what's weird now, or not great, is I could see why we were filling jet fuel in both. It's because these ones all open up together if we turn on that tank. So if we're pumping jet and diesel at the same time, they're all open. So we have to separate these ones to be only the one that we need. And to be honest, that will be just an adjustment in the microcontroller itself. So down here, this is for our number 1. Also, what is all this? This one should do something, but it's not. I guess this is something from the old one. Anyway, we know we need to add 3 things, or add 2 things and remove 1. So what we got to do, just make sure I didn't delete anything here. Okay, what we got to do is the one called Reservoir 1. That's no good. That literally turns it on for no matter what. Like if the on switch is on, Reservoir 1 is on, which doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work because it just pumps, it lets it flow in from everything. But I have a solution. I just thought of it. So this Reservoir 1 thing doesn't matter to us. We don't need it at all. And we don't even need to expand this. I didn't think this through. I have a bunch of AND functions here because what'll happen is you'll select crude pumping or whatever, it needs to pump it out. But really, this crude valve is what we need to put here for crude. Now I just have to find out which one is for crude and all that stuff. But really, that AND function turns on the main pump out of the chamber, and then it directs it to these guys where it'll distribute it, which is why we only need to use the one coming out of the individual microcontroller. May not make sense, but it makes sense in my head. So the way we have this laid out is, yeah, I'm gonna follow the paths and connect it. Okay, they've all been connected. We'll give this one a final little test and then upload the creation for your guys' use. Connect this, start the distillation immediately, folks. Let's go, let's go. And then once we start bringing things in, we'll start to heat it up right away. And then we'll see if we can transfer things. I guess we could start with our crude oil, but because we're heating it all up, we can't quite do that. Also, what is with that level? Am I not pumping it? Says it's extracting it. There we go. And we've reached the temperature we could heat it up at. We're producing a tiny bit of diesel and a tiny bit of jet. But in a second here, we're going to start producing a bit more, and then we will turn this system on. Now, you could cancel fluid selection, but really that's only good if you've totally dropped and removed all of the oil or diesel or jet from that reservoir. If you pump it out with the truck. There we go. Let's do this. So this one will be jet fuel. Let's go. This one will be diesel. Let's go. And if we run to them, so 3 is jet and 4 is diesel. Check this, jet, beautiful. And diesel. Fantastic. Okay, that's it, folks. That is all this video gives. But stay tuned for more. Keep letting me know of any comments, any feedback and all this stuff, but this seems to be working. I'm gonna go ahead and upload it and enjoy.